Welcome back, guys. So over the next few days, I'll be releasing a series of videos that will cover all the different types of expository writing that you may encounter in your CSEC English exam. Today, we're kicking things off by looking specifically at how to write a notice. And we're going to be using as example the question from the January 2020 exam paper. This section of the exam can be very unpredictable, as you may be asked to produce any type of expository writing, from a letter or an email to a notice, an article, could be a memo or even a report. It's important, therefore, that you not only understand the purpose and key elements of each of the different type of writing, but also how to format them correctly, because CSEC is marking big time for formatting. In fact, this is one of the ways that they know that you actually understand the different kinds of writing. I am going through the key elements of expository writing because I think that you need to know it. This is the same for all the different types, but I'm not going to be covering them in subsequent videos, so please pay attention. So first of all, let's look at the basics of expository writing. Expository writing is a type of writing that focuses purely on providing information in an objective and straightforward way. Its main purpose is to inform, explain, or describe a topic clearly. Now, in expository writing, the writer assumes that the reader has no previous knowledge of the subject. So you have to make sure that every area is covered in terms of your reader understanding. Unlike argumentative or persuasive writing, the aim of expository writing is not to convince the reader of a particular viewpoint, but simply to present facts, explanations, or descriptions, depending on what the type of writing is, and to provide these in a clear and unbiased manner. As I've said before, today we're going to be looking at how to do a notice, how to write a notice. So first of all, let's look at what a notice is. A notice is a short formal piece of writing. It's used to inform a specific group of people about an event or an activity. It could be a meeting or any other important information. A notice is usually posted in a public place like a notice board, because here it can easily catch the attention of the intended audience. A notice must be clear, it must be brief, and it must be organized, and it must provide all the essential details like what is happening, when, where, and any other special instructions. Here are some important points that you need to remember when writing a notice. A notice should share details about an event that is planned or has already occurred. And I stress this last part because most times we just think of a notice as giving information to something that's coming in the future, but it could be about something that has already happened. It should be written in continuous prose. The notice should have a title, it must have a title, and ideally the title should be written as a short phrase, not a full sentence. The tone of the notice should be formal and impersonal, and it is better to use the passive voice. It should clearly mention the individual or organization responsible for the event, and the notice must be dated and must answer the questions when, where, why, what, and how. Formatting your notice correctly is crucial if you want to secure a high mark on this question. So it's important that you commit the structure to memory so that you can easily pull it out when you go into that exam. A well-formatted notice not only makes your information clear and easy to follow, but it also shows the examiner that you understand the essence of what a notice is. Now here is a simple format of a notice. You might want to take a picture of it or just jot down the information. And this is actually the order that the information should be in. So you should have the name of the issuing department or authority. For instance, it might be coming from the English Language Department of Sunny Hill High School. You must have the word notice clearly written at the top. You need your date. That is the date that the notice is posted. You need a subject, what it is about. Then there's a body of your text, which must be written in continuous prose. And I can't stress this enough. You are not going to get your marks if you write bullet points. Okay? It must be written in continuous prose. And then finally, we need the name of the person who's posting or authorized to post the notice, as well as a signature, and where appropriate, the title. The expository question on the January 2020 exam paper was a notice. And that's what we'll spend the next few minutes going through. It says, study the situation presented below and then answer the question that follows. Here we go. You are the outgoing president of your school's Students' Council. Election for a new executive is scheduled for Friday the 25th of June 2020 at 10 a.m. at the school's auditorium. The following positions on the executive will be available: President, Vice President, Treasurer, Secretary, Public Relations Officer. Students need to be informed that the President of the Students' Council must be a fifth form student. Further, students must vote for a candidate for every position available. Write a notice that will be placed on the students' notice board. So what is CSEC looking for in your answer? They're very clear as to how you should present your notice. It should be well formatted. We've already been through the format. You should be able to select relevant and complete information. They're looking at how well you can do that. They're looking at how you organize and express the information in your notice. And they expect you to use appropriate grammar, sentence structure, vocabulary, spelling, and punctuation. And here it is again. We've mentioned it before. Your notice must be in continuous prose. Armed with all of that information, it's time now for us to actually write the notice. You may do one of several things. You may want to, for instance, stop the video and have a go. Based on the information we've been through, you may want to just have a go at writing the notice yourself before you look at what I've written. Okay? Or you could go through it and then practice with a notice from another exam paper. So I suggest that you have the notice format in front of you, and as we write, we're actually writing according to the format. So if you remember, the first thing on our format is the name of the issuing department. Now, it didn't tell us what the department is. CXE wants us to be creative. So using our creative freedom, we're going to choose a department. And we know that it's the Students' Council. So yeah, how about Sunny Hill High School Students' Council? Okay, we need to have the word notice clearly written at the top. You can see I've got it there. And we need the date. I've chosen June 2020, only because the election is scheduled for the 25th of June. So I thought, give them 25 days notice. So bear that in mind when you're writing as well. Don't put an arbitrary date after the event. Okay, so that's you using your initiative and thinking about what you're doing. Right, so the next thing we have is the subject, and we know that it's the election. It's election for the new executive for the Students' Council. You could come up with something, your own subject. I'm sure it's not going to be far from this because it's quite a narrow area. So the subject I've come up with is 2020 Students' Council election. Okay, you might be able to come up with something more clever than that. Right, so the next thing we need to go into is the body of our text, the body of our notice. So let's see what information we've been given. We know the date, we know the time, we know the place, right? It's in the auditorium. We know the positions that will be up: President, Vice President, Treasurer, Secretary, Public Relations Officer, and there are some important additional information that the students need to have. The President of the Students' Council must be a fifth form student. That's important. And they also need to know that they must vote for a candidate for every position. Okay, so I think that's the basic information, and those are very important information. So you got to find a way now to write it and present it in your notice. And this is what I've come up with. Okay, and then I am going to sign off. Before I sign off, I actually put a closing sentence, which form a short paragraph at the end there, right? Your participation is important, so come out and make your voice heard. Make it sound realistic. And then I end with my signature and name and position. So let's read this through to end. Sunny Hill High School Students' Council. Notice. June 1, 2020. And remember that the date at the top is actually the date the notice is posted. Subject: 2020 Students' Council election. All students are invited to participate in the upcoming Student Council elections, which will be held on Friday, June 25, 2020 at 10 a.m. in the school auditorium. The available positions are President, Vice President, Treasurer, Secretary, and Public Relations Officer. Students are reminded that only fifth form students are eligible to contest the position of President. Additionally, all students must vote for a candidate for each position. Your participation is important, so come out and make your voice heard. Alex Brown, outgoing President, Students' Council. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found this video useful. And if you have, then please press the like button, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe so that you can see upcoming videos And there are quite a few videos coming out in the next few days. So do subscribe and also press the notification button.